Our guest tonight is a media practitioner, Mr. Elie Smitt. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
It's a pleasure for having me. You have invited me here today.
Thank you. Once again, the current crisis rocking the two English-speaking regions is our focus for tonight. The most recent controversy is the communique that was published by the Senior Divisional Officer for Manu. Many are having the impression that the SDO for Manu Division, the Southwest region, simply unveiled the plans of the government to implement tougher measures in the Southwest region of the country. What do you think?
I also share that opinion, but I also want to think that to err is human. So I want to put on the chapter of a mistake that they committed, because I think they seem to undermine the resolve of people of West Cameroon and the people of Manu Division in particular. I have always said this thing time and over again, that this thing concerns Cameroon, and there's no reason to have a victor nor a vanquished. The most important thing is for the stability and peace of this country and for the Manu Division and Cameroon in general.
Tougher security measures, they have been criticized by some opposition leaders in the country just between Thursday, Friday, and the weekend that they were announced. Precisely, we have the CPP that have equally reacted, and a lot more of other actors of the civil society. Is it a solution to the current situation in the Anglophone regions, taking tougher security measures?
No, and I think those who have reacted negatively are correct. I think CPP and other members of the opposition and civil society organization, and nowhere in the world has tougher measures ever solve a problem. If you can go back, history is any guide. Look at what the Northern Vietnamese had by comparison with the enormous firepower of the United States. What happened at the end? And here in Africa, what happened between the Algerian freedom fighters of the Front de Libération Nationale and the French army? So when you use force, it is never going to solve any problem. The only remedy is dialogue.
We are having reports of military deployment in the Anglophone regions of the country, but administrative and security officials are saying otherwise. What you, as a journalist that has been in those regions, you have been to the northwest region of the country, you have been to the southwest region. What was your observation of the prevailing the atmosphere?
I find it strange that some people, especially administration, the government and the pro-government media, claim that there are no deployment of the Cameroon army in the West Cameroon. Is pure lies. You have a greater deployment. You just need to go and cross the Mongo and see the number of vehicles coming in with bursting in soldiers.
And we equally have reports of more vehicles between yesterday and this Monday, yesterday, Sunday, and this Monday.
Exactly. They are trying to beef up the security, their security presence on the ground, but I think it's a mistake. You can't solve this problem using military might, because someone told me from Monday when I was calling him, he said, this is a spiritual war. It is a popular war where people are in support of what is going on. I think what the government has to do is to buy the hearts and minds of the people of West Cameroon in order to seek for a solution. If they want to,
what do you mean by buying the minds of?
Buying the minds and heart of West Cameroonian is simple. On the 22nd of September this year and on the 1st of October this year, there was a gigantic massacre in that region of the country. What has the government done? The government seemed to think that it's just a matter that nothing happened. So what the government had to do is to put in place a measure, a system of compensation, try to see how to solve the problems. And what are the problems that have arrived at what we are today? The government needs to try to give solutions. Buying the hearts and mind is that you don't have to be killing, arresting wantonly, or raping people, or sending the very soldiers who are, as I've always said, it is not a joke. Most of them are forces of law and disorder. They are not forces of law and order. So I think I'm not going to invent the wheel.
And the dialogue you're talking about has been the recommendation of several international organizations. We've equally seen even the National Commission for Human Rights and Freedoms, many NGOs in the country are equally recommending dialogue, frank and genuine dialogue as far as the crisis is concerned. With the current tougher security measures announced in the Northwest and Southwest regions, precisely in my new division of the Southwest region, can we say that the government is abandoning that dialogue?
Of course, you don't need to be a graduate of MIT or Cambridge to say the government is abandoning. I think the government has this tendency of thinking that they can talk down on people, smash them, at the end of the day, dictate their whims and caprices on them. Perhaps they have done that on others in other parts of Cameroon, but you cannot do that in a region that considers, not even considers itself as a nation. What the government has to do is once again be able to dialogue with genuine representatives of that region and not people who are masquerading as leaders or who have been handpicked by Yaoundé.
And something very interesting, we saw the senior divisional officer calling on the population in Manu to collaborate with forces of law and order. Do you see the thing that is the people trust soldiers as peace restoring agents now in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon?
No.
Do you see that cordial relationship between security forces and the population?
And emphatic no. How will you collaborate with somebody who rapes your child, kills you willy-nilly, arrests you, humiliates you? There is a video circulating, I saw that, person I didn't see it, whereby the policeman took out a parent from a car, asked him to kneel and walk. When you humiliate people daily, how do you expect those people to collaborate with you? When I'm talking about winning the hearts and minds, is that we should have forces who are forces not of repression, people who try to collaborate with the population and not try to humiliate them by every turn.
So apart from that, there are several solutions out of this crisis, like you're talking about dialogue winning the hearts of the Anglophone population. We equally have demilitarization of the Anglophone regions of the country, the release of all those that are currently behind bars. You have been following the court case of Mancho BBC and Coin, the nation's capital, Yaoundé. You were there just a few days ago. What was your observation? And if you could give a recommendation, what would that be?
My recommendation is what I've always done, that whenever I have an opportunity to be invited, as you have invited me today, is that everybody should be released unconditionally. And the one thing I saw when I was in Yaoundé is that there are 2 journalists there in detention who have gone insane. If this government weren't primitive, insensitive, they would have at least shown that they are kind.
It's because the Committee to Protect Journalists has been talking about these journalists, that their conditions are really, really unstable at the Kondengi Central Prison in Yaoundé.
Of course, 2 of them have gone insane, and their condition of detention is atrocious. And if you have a government that is humane, at least those people have to be released. And any other detainees currently at the Kondengi maximum security prison should be released. People like Terence or Pen Terence, Mancho BBC and the others, even those 2 journalists who are already insane right now. If we are people who are humane, why don't you release them and release all others who are detained? That's the only thing, because most of them who are there, they went there because some of them are prisoners of one authority or the other. They did nothing, and somebody tells you that since I am a minister, I'm going to send you into jail and nothing is going to happen. But if you want peace to reign, those who have been arrested should be freed, and that sincere dialogue should be initiated. You have a lot of Anglophone leaders around, like people like Aya, Agbobala, Fontaine, Manchu, and the rest. Those are leaders of the Anglophone region, and they have to be spoken to. Or church leaders, because I think the Bamenda Ecclesiastical Province has already, on a number of occasions, made a lot of propositions that I think the government seems to have ignored it. You can't win, we are all Cameroonians, and you cannot win this war with military might. If you try that, they are going to meet their Trafalgar as well as their Waterloo.
Thank you so much, Mr.Elie Smitt, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
God willing.
Thank you so much. To our televiewers, it was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the news. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs.